Hey guys, welcome to the virtual reality panel. We have an all-star lineup here. We have the top VR professionals in Miami. And each professional here has a specialty inside VR. So we have Nick Quay. He's really good at using VR for real estate and other types of marketing. He's actually a real estate agent for Coldwell Banker, and he's actually innovated a lot on behalf of Coldwell Banker's Advanced Technology Group. And this is JC Fractal, he goes by, that's his online moniker, but it's Juan. Juan Carlos. So I'll let each of you do your own intros, but we'll pass the mic down. So just take, I already did Nick, so well, just take like 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Juan Carlos, and I do VR in a few different places. I work for a company called Spinteractive, and we do HoloLens development, and we do AR, VR, mixed reality. Now we're getting the new headsets from Microsoft, which they just came up with the Creators Edition, Creators Update. So we have a whole new series of headsets. So been working with Spinteractive and also working with Decographic, and I've also been working with a few of the local art galleries, like the Cuban Diaspora Museum and Moksha Art Gallery, and we've been setting up virtual galleries of some of these big galleries and local galleries, and the idea is to eventually put them live on the internet so that anybody in the world can actually visit these galleries. So kind of been working on that aspect of that also.
Hi, my name is Richard Fendelman. I am a television and film producer, director, cameraman, editor. So I've been in television production for a long time, worked on big movies and TV shows. So my goal, my objective, my life is telling stories with video. And so it's just really a tool that I came across about 3 years ago shooting virtual reality. This is my camera, one of my cameras right here. I have other cameras I brought to show you, things to talk about. You have to learn a little bit of tech to do this. There's stitching involved in different programs, and we can talk about that more later, but that's my background and that's pretty much what I do.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian Kong. I work at AMD, part of the Radeon Technologies Group. So we're a semiconductor company that specializes in making CPUs and GPUs that really power these VR experiences. And also in the movie industry, there's a lot of 3D rendering, so we're looking to deliver solutions that really create the next level of experiences for everyone to enjoy.
Hi everyone, my name is Myron. I'm the president and founder of Helm Systems, and in the game development studio here in South Florida. We just launched our game last week in early access with Soul Keeper VR, and I've been working in game development for 15 years, more or less. I've been working with Unreal Engine since the first generation. The game was built in Unreal Engine 4. And also, obviously the game is in VR, and we also worked with the aerospace industry. In VR, we did private jet interior product visualization. So, there you have it.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Gaspar Ferreiro, so you can call me Casper if it's easier. I'm basically a weird story as far as VR is concerned because I'm really a banker. I really was completely outside to the industry and also happened to be a gamer on the side. I bought my first VR headset, got really hooked into it, got one of those free engines, Unity, which is my engine of choice right now, started developing on it, and before I knew it, I was building stuff, getting attention from other people, and now I have my game studio getting, the support of hardware manufacturers, computer manufacturers, attention from the media, and whatnot. I mean, nothing huge or groundbreaking, but the fact of the matter is that I'm kind of like a poster child for, hey, if you're sitting there at the podium and you're thinking about making a game, trust me, a 40-year-old banker who doesn't know how to make HTML can make a game. Anybody can do it. It just takes passion, work, and determination, and a little bit of resilience to challenges, but anybody can get there. It's not rocket science. It's just hard work.
Great, yeah, thank you for letting us know about yourselves. I actually neglected to tell you about myself. So I'm Praveen Yalamanchi, Prav. So I shot the world's first 2 virtual reality zombie films, and now I'm more focused on AR and holograms, so I'm making a holographic cyborg movie. And that's some of my technology over there, some holographic generation devices. So I'm in a tech accelerator in Sunnyvale, Silicon Valley, the largest accelerator, 300 companies in one building. The accelerator started Google, PayPal, Dropbox, and I have a film production company in LA. But I've been in Florida about 4 months out of the year. So I'm gonna do the order of questioning based upon who has to leave. So two of the people here have to leave to watch a solar eclipse in Atlanta. So I'm gonna prioritize them first, so and they'll be stepping off after, so they can get to their eclipse. So Gasper, you know, I see you like everywhere. You know, we run into each other in like every random city. Like, you know, where are you going, and how do we keep running into each other?
Well, I mean,
Can you put the mic closer? Put the mic closer to your lips.
Okay, part of the whole thing. I mean, again, I don't have any secret formula or any special sauce or anything. But
I don't think so, because I go to these really like advanced conferences, and it's always good to see someone from Miami, right? I'm in LA, and there's a dude from Miami, like, what's he doing here? And he's just so passionate, right? Really like you can see the fire in his eyes. He really breathes this stuff. So I ran into him in Oculus Connect and Vision Conference. A lot of these conferences, he comes all the way. Today he drove from Atlanta to come showcase his game. That's dedication to the industry. That's passion.
I mean, to be fair, first of all, I enjoy showing my work. Again, since I'm a banker,
Put the mic up, man.
Since I'm a banker, it's kind of like a hobby that kind of grew bigger than what I expected. I enjoy what I'm making, and I get a really great kick out of people playing the game and also enjoying it. So, sure, it's a long drive. It's 12 hours back there, and it's going to be late at night. I'm probably going to be like, damn it.
So talk about the different awards your game has won.
We've won for other games, like we won the Arcade Mobile Game Jam. So for that we got a prize. We went to China and met all these huge companies that, unfortunately we were too small for their interest, because we go to Alibaba and like, yeah, I'm making a little game, can I have $10,000? So they're gonna go like, that's too small for us.
Yeah, if you asked for 10 million, they would have said yes.
Maybe. But that's one award. The other one was we won Popular Choice Award for the MSI VR Jam late last year. We've been getting there. Again, we're a very small team. It's pretty much a lot of collaborators, but it's, again, while we lacking numbers or in funding or resources, we're really having passion. So we just try to make the best product that we can.
That's great. That's the prime ingredient is passion. So let me switch over to Juan Carlos. So Juan Carlos has really made a name for himself. He won the big Great Miami Make-a-thon to make a VR experience for the Cuban American Museum, and I just saw a new experience he made for Moksha Art Museum. So we want to talk about that.
So I've been involved in VR, I guess, since the very beginning, since the DK1 and Oculus when it first came out, and we've all been hearing about VR being the next big thing for, I guess, decades now, pretty much since the 90s, I guess, they've been talking about it. So now that it finally happened, I immediately recognized it. I immediately realized, wow, this is really going to happen now because of the phones and technology. The phones has finally brought the price down. So, I got involved right away. And so we have a large community here of artists in Miami. And they always do events, people always take their art. And so I wanted to find a way to mix virtual reality with art and music. So we started having events in which I started creating these galleries in which the artists would come in, and we would have this big event, and real artists would line up their art around the event. There would be music, there would be just the usual. And then I would set up my gallery there with the artists also having their arts inside the gallery and also live. So it was kind of like bringing together live art and virtual art. So, I started doing that, and little by little, we started kind of getting a lot of notoriety around the city. And I connected with Moksha Art Gallery, which is another big gallery here in Miami, and we created an experience for them. I also participated in the event that he was talking about, and now I'm working also with the Cuban Diaspora Museum, and we're setting up a virtual gallery for them. And there's this thing called High Fidelity. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's a sort of a online environment where people can actually enter with their avatars, and anybody around the world can visit places inside of High Fidelity, and you can shake somebody's hand, they'll be in front of you, and you can see their lips moving. So what we want to do is we want to bring these galleries into High Fidelity so that anybody in the world can actually look at the art, say, I like this painting, press a button, and purchase it right there. So you're bringing art to the whole world, and you're democratizing the process, because obviously not every artist can be inside of a gallery. Not everyone gets accepted to a gallery. But if you can create a virtual space where anybody can go and visit it, then you're bringing art, unknown art, to the world. So that's one of the projects that I'm working on right now.
So with Juan just like Gasper, he just shows up. Like Woody Allen says, that's like the majority of success when showing up. Everywhere I go, there's Juan Carlos. We did the Makeathon together. He actually won. So and then we did the Maker Faire, and then every festival there's Juan Carlos. Any random. It doesn't matter what it is. It's VR. He's there. If it's not VR, he'll make it VR. That's passion. So regardless of where the industry goes, the passion is going to carry along. Whether whether the hard times come, lack of funding, it's the passion that carries us through the low ebbs, and there's always be low ebbs. So I really believe in Juan Carlos and Gasper, because I can see that they love this. It doesn't matter what happens, they're gonna persevere. They're grinders. So we'll move on to.
And let me just add something very, very important again. Since I'm here in Atlanta, here in Miami and also in Atlanta. Both states have awesome communities, but not every state does have that. Something beautiful about Miami is that, we're all developers, but we also help each other. It's a really good community. For example, in my game, it was here Myron who made the best looking hands and swords that anybody has ever seen in my game. And I keep telling people, okay, the game looks great, but if you look at the hands and the swords, they're beautiful, and everybody knows them. And that was him helping me out. So, if you guys get into this, cherish this community, because, it's sure, we all want to be successful and whatnot, but as they say, the tide rises all ships. If one of us is a success, all of us are a success at the same time, and I think that we're all in this together. So, take advantage of that, because not every place is like this.
Yeah, that's great. So if you guys have to go, I know you guys got to get to Orlando.
Yeah.
If you're free to.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, thanks for staying. So we're supposed to do this 3 hours ago. So we graciously stayed 3 extra hours. So we move on to Myron and Soulkeeper. So Myron has, arguably the most interesting story in this panel. When I say persevere and stuff, I've never seen someone, persevere. He's persevered in VR before there was even a term VR.
Yeah, it's tough, it's a new industry, so it's kind of hard to figure out what people really want, what works, what doesn't. Even people themselves don't know what they want. And I won't lie, we just had a release this week. It's been a very tough week for us. We hit some optimization, some performance issues, which we're working on right now. I don't know if anybody bought the game is watching, but the patch is coming, it's on the way. Probably by Tuesday we should have it out. But that just proves that, especially for an indie developer like us, there's a lot of challenges that you have to overcome. And being that VR is a new industry, even though most of us here, we've spent a lot of time with VR. We've been there since the beginning, and it's been there for a couple of years. But overall, as an industry, it's still very infant. It's still growing.
Well, what I find very unique about your story is, passion is the key, the base level ingredient, but you've also have another unique ingredient where you actually share knowledge and you create a community. You're giving all these free classes. You're basically the heart of the Unreal community down here. So you've really without you, we wouldn't really have much VR in this industry. So, do you want to talk about the history of your game and
Yeah,
how you got to this point?
I mean, it has a long history. The Soul Keeper as an IP exists since 2002-2003. It started as a total conversion mod for Unreal Tournament 2004. In case you don't know what a total conversion is, it's pretty much a mod for an existing game, but it's built from scratch. All the assets, all the resources, everything is built from scratch. So technically, it's just a game using the engine that another game uses. That version of the Soul Keeper got nominated for an IGF Independent Games Festival Award in 2006. Epic actually flew us over to GDC. They went to show how versatile their engine is. Because up to that point, everybody was using Unreal Engine for first-person shooters, whereas we used it for a multiplayer version of the game where you fly dragons, you ride horses, you cast spells, you use swords, you use ranged combat, and you also use catapults and all kinds of crazy stuff that nobody thought was possible in Unreal. So we've been around for a while. As you said, you have to be passionate and you have to really withstand all the difficulties that come your way, just like every other industry.
Yeah, definitely.
But helping the community, has been great because, of course, it always feels great to give back and help, but I also found some really good people in the community. Adrian and Wes were here with us. I found them here, they're local.
Let's go with the VR. They can wave, we can all see them without panning over. I guess you have to turn your head if you're in a headset right now. So turn your head a little bit and see and wave.
So, it pays off, if you help the community build and grow, you will also find some good people to work with.
That's great. So we actually have a special guest, so Brian Kong, he actually flew in yesterday from Toronto, and he also shipped in a lot of equipment to give us a very special treat.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't checked it out, in the other room we have the sort of Bahubali VR experience set up. It's based off of the movie, and it's powered by the latest Radeon RX Vega graphics card. So at Radeon, we work to deliver the best experiences, but we're also working closely with developers with our Liquid VR initiative. We have SDK kits available for VR developers to hopefully optimize and create their games as efficiently as possible. And we're also working with the movie industry, Bahubali, with our professional line of cards. Really, as VR evolves, the graphical demands keep evolving with it, and you need billions of transistors now in a single card just to power these experience at 90 FPS in the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive headsets. So it's a smooth experience, and it's a growing industry, and we're happy to be part of it.
Yeah, just to give some context, the movie he's referring to was released, earlier this spring. It's the largest grossing Bollywood film in history, and the VR edition is very unique, not just in Bollywood, but also just in general, the amount of resources and the beauty and artistic talent that went into making that movie, the VR experience. And we're kind of really honored that he flew in all the way from Toronto and brought the equipment in to showcase it as kind of a world premiere of this version, at least, a sneak preview. So
it's a pleasure being here. I've walked around and experienced the culture along with all of the other demos. It's very cool to see your hologram and also what developers are doing across.
Yeah. So what do you think of the VR scene down here? You're basically AMD is the leader in this industry. What do you think of the Miami scene? You're going bigger, less than 24 hours, but make a snap judgment, I guess.
It's an eye-opening experience. It seems very passionate, as Myron just mentioned, but this is very neat to see, and I'd love to be a part of it in the future. And if there's a next one, I'd love to come down again.
Yeah, definitely. We do. Myron can tell you we do an annual game cruise. So we'll move on to Richard now. So Richard and I, serendipity, right? We sat next to each other at Emerge America, it's the big tech conference. We were, and with Nick as well. We were all filming in VR, Roni Abovitz, the CEO of Magic Leap, right? It's like, you gotta talk to the guy sitting next to you, also the VR camera, so we get to know each other, and then we had a big VR documercial shoot for a big startup in Miami. It's raised over $50 million. So we did like a 15-minute like commercial documentary of a new hardware product they're releasing for doctors' offices. And the co-founders there, we hired Suja Paul, who's on the next panel, as the doctor, and it was an amazing experience. Like without exception, like all the senior executives of CareCloud, they were blown away by Richard and his artistic use of basically the VR director of photography. It's like, they thought they knew something, but Richard was just on another level. So if you want to talk about how you got in this industry and the experience you had last weekend.
Sure. It's loud. Well, like I said, I'm a traditional video director. And I got a call from a client in New York that they wanted to have a trade booth. This is 3 years ago. And this was the Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, which is all bikini stuff, so it was a really tough job. And they had a booth, and it was a bunch of small bikini companies, couldn't afford to be there at the trade show, so 10 of them got together, and they wanted to have a VR experience where they saw all the girls displaying the swimsuits for the different companies. So this is the first time I ever even heard of it, to tell you the truth. And so I'm a self-learner with all the digital stuff. So I learned it really quickly, and I got the 6 GoPros, and we got a location, and I did the 360, and it was a tremendous learning experience. And it worked, and I was hooked. And from then on, it was like, wow, this is like really amazing. So, let's see, what was the other question?
Like the experience we had last weekend with the VR doc commercial for CareCloud.
So I get calls from my website, we want to do a 360 for something, and every single time it's like totally different. And this is a totally creative thing on the production side. Every single one is like totally different. There's a few basics. You have stitch lines. I have 4, like this is my camera here. This is Z-Cam. It's got 4 little cameras in there. And it has software that comes with it, and it stitches the 4 pictures together so that it's one continuous picture. Does anybody not know what 360 VR is here? Has everybody seen it like on the YouTube or in a headset? Because nobody doesn't know. How many people own 360 cameras? Just a few people. But it's really cool. And for very little money, you can get a camera that'll fit on your cell phone. And you can live stream video or send your stills right up. And it's so much fun. And it's like, well, that one's only $125. So you can see where the technology has come from. It's just unbelievable. And so, people call me, they don't really understand 360, so I have to explain it to them, how it works. And even going to like big events where I'm hired to do an event, they kind of like stick me in the back. But you have to realize we're the inside of, let's say, a ball, and you're going to view in the viewer or online, you're only going to see a little piece. So you have to be able to know what your focus is, what your point of view is, what you want your audience to see, and also not have people cross stitch lines. So it gets complicated, and also using my filming techniques, I think that helps as a filmmaker as well. So the experience was great because I don't get to work with actors that much with my 360s, and this was a great opportunity to...
Yeah, Suja, they can see you. So he played the doctor, and he actually cured a little cough I had. He's a better doctor than... And Michelle is actually our PA. So
it's a great group to work with. Everybody was really terrific. The actors are really good. Like I did a music video with Faruka. I don't know if you know who Faruka is, and Bob Marley's son. It's a big hit. And we were in a recording studio, and all the musicians are all in a circle, and so I had to tell them, look, there's a stitch line here, you're going to have to move the drummer over, you're going to have to move the guitar player over to make sure they're in the right spot. So in that way it's very complicated. And then of course the guitar player, all of a sudden pointed to him and he had a solo, so he goes out like this with his guitar. And now the neck is split in half because he's on the stitch line. It was very hard to stitch that. And every day it's changing. It's more and more cameras are coming out. The software is changing. They've gone to adaptive stitching, which is a whole other type of stitching. So it's exciting. I spend half my time online learning. And what somebody over here said is that the community is amazing. There's some sites I'm on for 360 different cameras, 360 professionals. And if you have a question, and now I can see after being on it for so many years, people are just getting into it and they're asking the most simple questions, but everybody is there to help. And they give you all the advice in the world. And if you have a problem, very quickly, you can just put it on there and people will, not only just people or engineers or software technicians, but the developers of this camera, for instance, are right there every day with you. Of course, they're in Asia, so usually it's about 2, 3 in the morning to get your best answers. But they're right there to help you, and then also they're seeing what it is that that we think should be there, and they're adapting it very quickly to help you with the cameras. Now, one thing I will say with almost all the cameras, being a video person, it's great to have that 360 video, but they don't have any sound. They've got 4 speakers in there, but if you get this far away, the sound's not very good, and there's no place to plug in from an audio board. So if I was doing a concert, I want to take stuff right from the audio board. So it would help if you're developers to really interface with people who are actually video makers to find out, well, what do we really need here? So the software has just come out this week where if I'm using my laptop, I can plug a microphone into the sound card of the laptop, and then it will, and I can choose to have that be the microphone, and now I can get good sound into my 360 video.
So Richard, you know, everyone, I assume, have heard of motorheads or gearheads, you know, people who just love to work on, you know, hop up their cars, and then, you know, there's a modern community for, you know, if you're a gamer, you know, make your best, you know, water-cooled desktop computer, your AMD Radeon parts. But Richard is the, I guess, the new breed. He's a VR head. You know, it's like, he's forgotten more than I've ever known, and like, it's like, you know, he has such a breadth and wealth of knowledge that he's able to, you know, pull stuff in from different areas, and you know, VR is kind of a catch-all term for a lot of different things, and you know, like, you know, it's amazing how quickly he learns too, and you know, on the set, you know, there's like problems we encountered because no one's ever encountered that problem before, no one's ever tried it, and he's able to pick and choose, you know, different ways to fix it. It's almost like the carpenter that has, you know, a huge tool set. You know, you never know what you're going to need. He has got that big tool set, all that experience, and he's still always learning new things. So I have to save the last because Nick and I have been, you know, really good friends for 11 years. So I didn't want to be, you know, nepotism and have. It's a problem being my friend, you know. You gotta take one for the team. So he's last because, you know, he's actually a good friend of mine. So.
Hi, my name is Nick Quaid, and thank you, Park, for the intro. So we're on a tech panel here talking about virtual reality. Also live, I have a virtual audience here at home watching us. Everybody say hi. Hi. There you go.
Subscribe to me.
What's that?
Subscribe to me.
Subscribe to you? Yeah, we want. I'd love to subscribe to you. So we're here talking about virtual reality and different uses, and one of the conversations was 360 VR. There's a lot of different things. So something that I've been doing, I've been in real estate for 12 years. I've been involved in technology for almost as long. I've done some projects with Irving, had the pleasure of doing things, you know, some VR and working on some AR things. One of the things that I like to do, you want to know, go ahead?
Yeah, you know, he's basically my my brother in arms. You know, you call Nick up, 5 minutes notice, he's there. Doesn't matter what I'm asking, he's gonna say yes. He just shows up, and you know, we got into some really quite wild VR-related adventures. So I'm sure you'll go into it. We did Hack Miami. We did the Singularity, you know, Global Impact Challenge, where all this Google executives flew in. So why don't you talk about, you know, what mine is like in 2030, how we express it in VR?
That's that's a good one. So what Prav's talking about is I have several different cameras. I have one that's a 3D camera. I was the first broker. I'm also been in real estate for a while, so the first broker in Florida to own one. And it has 9 lenses, 6 lasers, and so spatially it's able to take thousands of images, and later on, after it's done filming, it stitches them all together and it creates a user-controlled virtual reality experience. So one of the things that I've been using it for is I can bring buyers into my listings from anywhere in the world. Miami, it's a lot of foreign nationals. My personal market, being like high-end luxury and also waterfront homes and some investments, is up to 80% foreign nationals or non-local. So what I've been able to use that with is we can kind of capitalize on bringing somebody physically into a space without ever getting on a plane, 24 hours a day, and it's been an amazing thing. I get offers sight unseen on listings. We also use it for inspections. So, a few of my recent deals, my clients are from Brazil, from France, from Israel. I have a gentleman from South Africa that I work with. I have a couple in Canada right now, Argentina. They never physically have to come to the property after closing. And that's just using a 3D technology. Like we mentioned, there's a lot of different types of 3D and what it actually does. What Rob was referring to is we did something unique. A lot of people have only used this for stills. Usually there's not people in it where it's thousands of images. Any small movement, as we found out, you get a lot of blurs, so it looks like there's ghosts in there. Something really neat that we did.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to do the mannequin challenge. You gotta sit totally still.
Exactly, mannequin challenge.
Yeah. So I'm sitting still while, in the case, moving the camera around, I can't move.
It was actually great. One of the things that we did is, I'm a very avid paddleboarder, and what we did is, we were talking about this Office 2030. Basically, what's Miami gonna look like in 10 years, 5 years? We know that sea level rise has been an issue, so one of the initiatives that Irvine invited me to get involved with was how do we hack sea level rise? What does that mean? And from us, I was looking at it from a social perspective. How do we create a social movement to show people what it's like? So we used one of my 3D cameras to take thousands of images of me anchored on a paddleboard. Irvine was sitting up on the kind of dock area in the grass. It was the mobile office. And basically it's him with a mask and snorkel and fins sitting there waiting for me to come to our meeting. And we shot that in 3D and also with a 360 camera. I don't have a Z cam, I use a Samsung Gear 360. It's 2 lenses and a stitch. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for me for very quick content. Doesn't need a lot of editing, the sound's fine. So anyway, back to the project that we were working on, we were trying to show people what it was gonna be like. So we were using the 3D, the user-controlled 3D experience to bring people into this reality, to kind of show them, hey, this is actually what's happening, this will be a problem. Obviously, we're probably not going to be wearing bow ties on our paddleboards, that's kind of something unique that I like to do. But, it is.
So let me paint the picture for you, right? So basically, in 2030, Miami's halfway underwater, so he's got a paddleboard to work in a suit and his bow tie, right? And in 360, he's describing, oh man, I missed my car. I wish we still had roads, right? He's paddleboarding, and I'm at the office. He waves to me, so I'm there at the office early. So it's kind of projecting. Maybe in 17 years I'll be a morning person. I'm not there now. I'm sure he'll get to the office before me, in 2017. So that's the. And then once he arrives, then it's a 3D. So you can actually, most VR you can just look around, right? But with the 3D scan, you can walk around. So we created a virtual office. It's basically a park, basically, and I have a laptop and historical gear on. So now, fast forward a few weeks later, we're one of the top 5 finalists for the Singularity U Miami Global Impact Challenge, which is a really big deal. And so all the executives from Google flew into Miami to hear our solution for sea level rise. And they say, sometimes it's better, not to know. So we're the first person to get up, we're the first team to pitch. So we get up, I'm in my snorkeling gear, he's in his paddleboard gear, and we launch into it, Miami 2030 visualizing with Myron's Unreal meetup. We had some 3D artists who actually volunteered their works. They rendered different streets of Miami underwater. So it was like a group effort. And then, I threw out vegan cookies, probably brought you judging. So we had a great time,
Those cookies were delicious.
And the other, we got down, or whatever, we're very happy, we had fun and everything. The other four get up and they're super serious, they're in a suit. There's a lot of projections and data and, oh man, I'm glad we went first. We probably would have coming down, not had as much fun. But anyway, so we'll do closing remarks.
I want to say one thing about that real quick. So not that I'm trying to interrupt, but the one thing that I think stands key for me is that when you look at technology, virtual reality, whether it's 360 or thousands of photos being stitched, there's a lot of uses here. It's not just for gamers. It's really not. Okay, yes, I still have my original Nintendo. I'm not a gamer. I have 2 Oculus ports on my computer that I built, but I built the computer to do editing. I've never actually really played those games. The applications that I see as a marketing application, there's not a business that I can think of where you're selling a product or a service that you couldn't actually integrate 360 or VR, whether it's in photos or in this. And the perfect example is what Praveen was talking about, where we get up on stage and we're trying to showcase to the world the impact that we're having on the environment. That's unique. I wish that more people would get up and talk about this and utilize this. You have the opportunity and the ability right now to bring millions of people right where you are to show something that they can see 24 hours a day at their leisure. There's major, major benefits to the technology, and I'm so honored to be up on a panel with these guys. And I just feel like, there's so many unique things that we're doing, and I feel like there's so much more, and so much more for the industry to expand to.
Great, so we'll go down the line, closing remarks, and just say a few last words, and also if you talk about, for people who are looking to break into the industry or learn more about it, if you can give them some friendly advice.
First of all, I want to say that I agree with what you just said. There is a lot of applications for VR, and honestly, I agree. There's no industry I can think of that couldn't use VR. We've seen both sides of the coin. We work with the aerospace industry, like I said, and we work in games. And the methodology and the implementation was using the same techniques. So, for us game developers, I think at least for the moment, we have a bit of an edge because we can apply our knowledge and our skills in different industries, including medicine, real estate, of course. Especially, if you are skilled with rendering super realistic environments, you're definitely on demand right now. But besides gaming and everything, every other business application there is, I think VR can be also used, for good purposes like medicine. Imagine if you're a doctor, I could imagine, somehow scanning your patient's, organs and being able to examine them up close in VR as if you were in there, being able to see every little detail. So yeah, it's still a new industry. There's a lot of stuff that waits to be done, and I think all of us together have to keep pushing forward. There's a lot of mistakes we will all make. We found out the hard way just this week. We always try to push for very high graphical fidelity. We try to push for the best visuals we can. And we pay the price because a lot of people complain that they can't play the game yet. Although once again, we already figured ways to optimize and still maintain that high level of graphical fidelity. So that's already, that's already a mistake that helps us move the whole process forward and the whole technology. So I think if all of us keep doing that, we can definitely, make VR a more meaningful part of our lives.
Yeah, adding on to Myron, the medical industry is growing. I had the opportunity to try one of the latest, newer games where you're actually flying inside your body. It's like you're shrunken down and you're flying through the veins, and you can, as a white blood cells, you can see bacteria fighting each other. But that's just one of the many uses that's up and coming in the industry, and it's very cool. As a gamer, I'm really looking forward to these really immersive worlds where you can really lose yourself. But whether it's 360 video on YouTube or it's the latest, most advanced and graphically demanding game, I encourage everyone to just go try VR because I really think it's here to stay, and the possibilities are endless, from enjoyment to education to it's the future, I think. So I encourage everyone to go out and try it.
Okay, so what I want to leave you with, because nobody seems to have a camera, I wanted to show you the cameras. So this is a camera. It's got a camera on both sides. And you stick it in your phone, and it becomes a 360. Your phone becomes a 360 camera, and you can save the pictures, they can video, you can stream live. It's just amazing, and it was $125. It's the Insta 360 Air is for the Android, and they have one that's a little bit different name for the iPhone. And then if you want to go up a little bit in quality and price, Ricoh has this camera. It's also back-to-back cameras. This was like in 350, and it has its own stitching software, and it's great for stills. I did the Latin Billboard Awards on Telewindow with my other cameras, but I actually set this up on the red carpet, and it takes a picture every, I don't know, so many seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. And then you have like a time-lapse still of pictures that are over 5,000 pixels, which is very high resolution, 5K, really, 4K. So that's another camera. And then also the camera you mentioned, which you have, is about the same price. And this is by Samsung. It's another type of back-to-back camera. And that's again about $350. So you should really be trying this out, and I think you get hooked, and really all your pictures on Facebook and YouTube will be 360 from now on, and they've made it so easy now. All you have to do is upload it, and it's there. So I think that's really what I want to leave you with.
Yeah. You can really see the unique mindset of everyone on the stage, right? Rather than hoarding information, they're really giving away knowledge that they acquired over decades, in Richard's case.
So I guess in closing, I was going to mention something similar. You know, VR is very attainable for all of us, and if anyone has, you know, an Android phone, there's actually a setting you can go into Photos. There's a setting that will create essentially a 360 image right from that. So you don't even need expensive gear. iPhone, Apple has this amazing new software set coming out right now that they're being developed, and it's going to let you create basically VR and walkable spaces from your phone. It's all right there, so all of us can do this. One of the other things is, you know, the small camera that Richard has was one of the InstaViews. I got the chance to meet them at CES. I was at CES in Las Vegas this January, and we were demoing different products. The Android version is pretty cool. I'm actually having problems with mine. The Apple version I like more personally because it has an external battery in it. You can get them online for about $119. The Samsung Gear, which is the white one, the old eyeball, they're about $125 on sale right now because the 2017 model came out. Where I see this going is one of the differences is that the newest ones that I'm playing with, I'm working on streaming. We can stream right now live in 360. It's very difficult using cellular, so you have to be plugged in hardwired. But where we're going with this is as the stitching technology gets faster and all the algorithms can click quicker, it's going to be amazing. I'll be able to sit here right now, pull out my phone, and everybody will get, you know, like a 2K quality image at home. So I think it's really unique. So if you're going to your, you know, your kid's soccer championship, or if you're having a wedding or a birthday, invest in it. It's not expensive, and it's worth it to have a camera, you know, like this or one of the cheaper ones, sitting there at your wedding, sitting there at your birthdays, and then you can share it with your friends at home. So whether they're in India, Brazil, Argentina, it doesn't matter. We can share all over the world right now using this technology, and I feel like that's one of the main benefits and why everybody here should really get into it.
Great, so we'll open up the floor to questions. I'm gonna bring the mic to you. So first up is Michelle.
Where do you get the iPhone one?
So you can actually get on Amazon. Amazon sells them all right now. I like Amazon Marketplace. I use Prime. That's a big suggestion for me to you because you usually have 15 to 20 days where you can use it for free. If you can't figure out or you hate it, put it back in the box and send it back. I do that all the time when I'm investing in, you know, new technology or tech toys I want to try out. And yeah, it's called the Insta 360. The Air is the one for the Android, and the Nano is the one for iPhone. And they're both 100 and something, very, very affordable for everybody.
You're welcome.
Probably don't need a mic.
No, use the camera. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Vivek, and I just have a quick question. Probably it's a very broad question. Where do you guys see VR in the next 5 years, considering the fact that for the past 2 years we have seen a lot of improvement with the Samsung headset, and you know how VR has changed in the past couple of years. What do you guys see in the next 5 years?
I can answer that.
You want the mic or you're going to
Sure.
Oh, here.
Thanks. You know, there's a lot of speculation regarding VR. A lot of people think that it's just going to disappear again. But I disagree. I think this time it's here to stay. I've been using, I've been developing for VR ever since the decade 2. So I can say that there has been a lot of mistakes that all of us have been making. We still do. There's a lot of things everybody has to learn, including the hardware manufacturers, and not just the GPUs, but also, the handset manufacturers. There's a lot of stuff that still has to be done. But I think everybody's doing a collective effort, hardware manufacturers, developers, we all work very, very closely right now. And I think this, the result of all those efforts and risks that we are all putting right now, I think they will come to fruition in about 2 or 3 years from now. So once that happens, 5 years down the road, I think will be a mainstream form of entertainment as well as, have its own business applications. And, one mistake that I see a lot of people making is they try to compare AR and VR, and I think they're two different things. VR allows you to take your real self, your physical existence, into a different world, whereas AR allows to bring something virtual in the real world. So they're parallel, they have a lot of similarities, but they're different. So I don't think in any way they're competing. I think they're both here to stay.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's here to stay as hardware manufacturers and developers are better figure out the links and the interconnects between how VR works. The immersion's only going to get better. So for the entertainment industry, instead of there's the regular one, there's IMAX, and maybe the next step up is a VR experience for all these blockbuster films. And in gaming, you're just going to lose yourself in another world where you actually feel like you turn off this world and you're actually immersed in the other world, and you can actually lose yourself. It's scary to think about, but it's also a real possibility in our lifetime. And also, as the resolution's only going to get higher and higher, which makes these experiences just better and better as time goes on.
Yeah, AR and VR, like totally different, but I think that AR is really going to be the thing that even takes off more. And there still will be some VR because that's just two-dimensional in a way, right? Even though you're looking around, it's not really 3D, unless you shoot 3D VR, right?
Well, it is in game development, actually.
Well, your game, what I found from the Oculus actually was that I had a client said, well, we want to do the Oculus, and I got one, and I'm going, why are my videos looking so crappy on the Oculus? And they said, no, it's for gaming, so all the digital stuff looks incredible. But the resolution just wasn't there yet, so I just say no, better off with a different way to do it, maybe your headset or something.
Yeah, I mean, headsets still have a long way to go as far as resolution is concerned.
Yeah. Okay.
Any more questions?
What's that?
Any more questions?
Did you say something?
Well, I didn't get to answer the question.
Huh?
I didn't get to answer the
Oh,
question.
go ahead.
So the question was, where do we see VR in 5 years? As we were talking about augmented reality, virtual reality, there is a big difference. Something that's been happening for the last few years, there's this madman, mastermind, awesome guy with Magic Leap, and they're creating mixed reality. It's going to take this to a whole new level. So where I see it is, as we start buying new glasses, whether it's Google Glasses or another product, it's going to bring everything that you need anywhere in the world right there, right in your frame as you walk around. Where I see VR going is more from the entertainment aspect. Some of you might have seen recently, there's a lot of YouTube videos and some Facebook viral posts going around about the roller coasters. They've now created custom digital content. So somebody like Unreal doing these amazing games that are so immersive. They can now take that, time it with a roller coaster. So as you're going up the roller coaster, you're ascending into the clouds. Maybe the roller coaster gets up to the top, you turn into a yellow dragon, you come spiraling down, you go down into the water, you end up with sea dragons and sharks. All these crazy things are happening. It's really unique. So where I see it from 5 years from now is maybe even going from the entertainment aspect to a full integration in education. You know, as it was mentioned earlier, doctors and hospitals, I think it's silly of them not to push the education aspect, because then they're able to give an experience from people all over the world and minimize the amount of mistakes. So that's kind of why I see VR in 5 years.
Great. We have another question. If you can introduce yourself first.
Yes, I'm Leonie Pearl. I'm a mother of 3 athletes. So which camera would you recommend to have during games?
I think Richard can answer
Yeah.
that question.
You want to know your sons are athletes and you just want to videotape their performance in
Exactly.
360?
And we have a terrible time doing that on the field.
You mean is it in a game, or you want to make like
In a
training
game.
videos or something like
No.
that? See, the problem is that like I volunteered to do something because I wanted it for a big film festival, and it was all set to go. And then when I got there, they're like, well, you know, we really don't want your camera right here. We want it way back there. Well, you know, then you know the football player is going to look like this. He's way too far away.
Exactly.
And you know, I don't know if that's really what you really want. I mean, it's cool and everything, and you get the crowd. I mean, I've done the Miami Hurricane football with Michigan, for instance, in the big stadium over here. But it's hard to see it when they're downfield, unless you can get really close. Now, for training, it's really cool, because you can put a camera on your helmet, or I have a harness where there's a little like a stick that holds the camera, and you can place it anywhere to get the point of view as the person's running around. And that would be cool, because you've got your first person. Go ahead.
What sports do they play?
Football and track and field.
So for track and field, there's actually probably a lot more you could do. Depending if it's a big meet or it's a school meet, they probably wouldn't be opposed to you setting up something out there where they're actually seeing them run by. So if it was going to be just like a family fun video or like a promo of the athlete, I would say, you know, Samsung Gear 360. If you get the older one, they actually sell a hard case now. It's like a waterproof case. The reason I say that is because if you look at these things, these lenses are kind of fragile. So yeah, there is a covering on the outside. But Samsung Gear 360, they're like $120 something. Buy the die case. It's high impact. It's made to sustain more pressure. So then when it does get dropped, because the teenagers are handling it will, you're not going to destroy the camera. From the football aspect, as he mentioned, if you put it on the side of the field, the players are going to be so tiny. But depending on the application, if it's for drills or if it's more like, let's do a promo, I would just get the GoPro mounts. And then, you know, all these cameras have a standard camera mount. Well, the GoPro system is interchangeable. You put the mount on it, you put it on their head. Maybe you have somebody standing out there padded and everybody does the play around them. I think that would be really unique as far as how do you teach other people, like maybe this is a special play and you need to know where you're supposed to be. But I think you're going to need a fixed point as far as football goes. So get somebody out there in the pads and just have everybody do the play around. I think that'd be really unique.
Okay.
We need a
Thank
football
you.
cam.
Exactly.
A football
We do.
cam.
Michelle, let me see if there's any other questions you would ask one. I think Bob, I mean, he doesn't have a question, but I'm going to make him one by the time I get up there.
So I was going to agree with the idea of, I'm Bob from Creation Station, I work at the library right down the street from. And the education thing, it hits right home with what we're doing with the library, with training, teaching people. And one of the nice little bragging points I can make tonight is we have the Smithsonian coming down to train with us in October. And we have the virtual Harlem exhibit that we're sending out to 7 different museums around the country. And we'll be setting all that up. And we have all this gear, all the cameras, all the VR gear for you to come use at the library. To come learn, build your own future with us, and figure out how you get to be on the stage next.
What cameras do you have?
We use the GoPro 4Ks. We have a 12 camera set that we can do for 360. Yeah, that was fun getting through the first thing. And we have that kind of stuff set up for people, and we basically show off the gear just to show people what they can do. Here's what you can come and try. There's a small company out of Brazil that comes up and does their video work with us and shows off what they're working on and stuff like that.
Cool.
So Michelle, you might have the last word.
Okay. Oh, and also,
Why don't you wait?
I wanted to just let you know, one of my Instagram followers just bought that Apple VR thing while she was speaking.
Nice.
And this, my question's for Byron specifically. Could you tell me what programming language you use to make your VR game The Soul Keeper?
Yeah, we use Unreal Engine, which uses C++. So, you know, our programmers have been using C++, but we also use a lot of Blueprints, which is the visual scripting language, if you will, for Unreal Engine 4. So we've been using a combination of both.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to tell us about the VR game design process before you leave us?
Sure. I mean, we were awarded an Unreal Developer Grant as recently as May, if I remember correct. We've been quite popular, which also has worked against us because people's expectations are, you know, really up there. And we're working 24/7, 365, literally, to bring, you know, to meet the expectations that people have from us. So all I can say to them is bear with us.
Soul Keeper VR. Awesome. Thank you.
I have a question for, were you going to answer that?
Oh, no.
Okay, I have a question for both of you guys. So one of the panelists here before was telling the kids, if you're going to think about anything, learn coding. Okay, what coding language would you recommend to learn, or which couple?
If it's for game development, I would definitely recommend you look at C++. Of course, you know, there are game engines that would allow you to use C#. You could even build games using Java, but I would definitely recommend you look at the C++. And even though, you know, there are new ways of programming around, like I mentioned, Unreal Engine has the blueprints, you still need to know some, you know, programming language so that you can understand the logic behind object-oriented programming and so on and so forth. So I would definitely recommend C++.
Yeah, so we have a very quick last question, then we have to start the phone screening. So Rita, and it really just one person answers. We really have a very tight schedule.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, I mean, with all the training and all the time and blood and sweat and passion, how much money can they really make, you know, the bottom line?
Are you talking a game? How much money a game can make?
Yeah, how much money can you make as a profession?
As a profession, you could make, especially if you're a programmer, you could make some really good salary, you know, you could be making 6 figures comfortably. All the other fields of game development, you could definitely reach close to that, and if you're on top of your game, you could even pass that. So again, you could be making 6 figures. But,
yeah, I think because we have to start the movie. You know, just to sum up, you know, right now, you know, according to all the job surveys, VR is the fastest growing job category for freelancers. So fastest growing doesn't mean it's the biggest, obviously, but they say you gotta skate where the puck is going, not where it is. So the growth rate is, you know, astronomical. So it might not be today, but you know, that's what you should focus on. VR might be a catch-all term for a lot of things, but you know, like they're saying the skill sets like Unreal or Unity or coding is going to serve you well. Even if VR doesn't take off, you know, it's a skill set you can use for everything. All right, let's give the panels a round of hand. So we have one last special.
I'm sorry?
Fireside chat.
No.
Yeah, so we started. So I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming back to South Florida Mr. Sujal Paul, the very successful, as of a week and a half ago, writer-director of the new hit Netflix movie Tie the Knot, starring Tara Reid and Omi Beatty and some other very talented actors. And I say recently famous, you know, as an overnight success, but you know, you can see, you know, as we get into this chat, there's no such thing as an overnight success. You know, this man is you know, poured blood, sweat, and tears into his passion of filmmaking. So, Suja, welcome back to Miami.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'm really excited to be here. I mean, Tie the Knot is a really Miami movie. It started up in South Florida movie. It all started here with my friends. We started writing a few pages and started shooting with friends, and that's how it started. And then it developed into a full screenplay, and that's when we went to LA. Both Praveen and I went to LA, and we were lucky to get some producers excited about the movie. And 4 years from then, we have a movie. It's on Netflix now. You can watch it. It's called Tie the Knot. It's starring Tara Reid, and we have some amazing Indian actors in it. So, yeah, that's how it started.
I think the journey of the film itself and your journey as a filmmaker is equally as interesting as the film. So, Halangi, if you just wave your hand, you're in 360, so everyone can see you. So, the story is loosely based on a Christmas party she had. So, Suja.
Yeah, we were basically in one of her parties where she was going to India, and all the friends were making fun of her, saying, when you go to India, they're going to tie you with somebody, you know, some guy, your parents are going to do that. And right then we were starting a net IP TV, and Praveen wanted me to write something, and I had that idea in my mind. I just wrote like a few pages, and that's how we started auditioning and shooting some scenes. So yeah, she was the what do you say, inspiration.
Yeah, next to Halangi is our patron saint, Akshay Sharma, if you raise your hand. So yeah. Akshay let us shoot in his house, and how was that experience?
Yeah, Akshay, you know, he's amazing. He let us use his house 24/7 whenever we needed to shoot, practice with actors who were not really actors. There were some doctors, there were some engineers, our friends, you know, who just acted for those scenes. And then we hired some professional actors. But I must say, when I was showing my producer these old videos from his house, he saw one guy. He said, "Who's this guy?" I said, "He's my friend, he's a doctor." He said, "Can he come to act for that scene?" I said, "I'll ask him." And his name is Neil. So I called him, I said, he lives in Philadelphia. And I said, "Do you want to come? My producer wants you to act." He said, "Anytime, whenever you want." So he's in the movie.
So Suja, can you go into how the movie was actually made from the time you started writing it to the time you finally got it on Netflix? I know we started in Miami as a web series, but then what happened in LA and what happened in India?
Yeah, I mean, LA, it was crazy because I was a little lucky. When I went to LA, there's this American film market, and I went to this pitch festival. It's like 500 people in the room, and there are these producers from studios who teach you how to pitch, but they tell you, put your card in a bucket. They will pick 8 people from that to pitch on the stage with them. And I had been in LA just for 1 week then. They picked my name. So I was able to go to the stage, pitch my movie, and when I came down, I had a bunch of people in a line waiting to talk to me about this script. That's how I got, and then I met this guy who had met somebody from that pitch, and then I was introduced to this guy by another lady, and he had already known about the movie, so it was pretty interesting.
That's great. So I know we want to start the screening, so one last question. Can you talk about your journey as a filmmaker? So I know this is a second career for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was born like, you know, most of the Indians where your parents decide what you're going to be, and they wanted me to be an engineer, and that's what I became for them. And eventually, when I got so old that I had a little money left, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to quit this job. I did my MBA, I worked in a big corporation, and I left it, and I said, now it's time to go and follow my dream, follow my passion. So this is the first, I guess, sample of my passion. I mean, this could have been much better, you know, the journey is crazy, what happened to it. I had to hire an actress, which I wasn't happy with. I had to hire her. So you will see there's a director's cut and there's a producer's cut. In producer's cut, she's almost like in a lot of scenes. In my director's cut, she's only in a few scenes. Unfortunately, Netflix, the movie you see Netflix is the producer's cut. But director's cut is definitely much better received than producer's cut. I must tell you that. I'm sorry.
So
don't put this all like No.
So we can cut that.
This is between us friends. This is between us friends, but definitely like my friends have seen both. Like they have seen it. it's, you know, you're doing a disservice to your friend or your son or your daughter or someone if you're promoting them to a point which is far beyond them. This girl had never acted before. She's a good model, amazing looking. She had won Miss India US, but she had not acted before. I put an acting coach with her for 2 weeks, but still, the role was too big for her. And I told her father, look, this is not good for her. You know, because now if anybody sees her acting, even if she's better now, she is much better than now. Because I did cast her for a small role in another movie, and she is a lot better now. But what are they going to perceive her as that person in that role? So you are doing disservice to your child, your friend, whoever you're promoting, more than their capability. So that's what happened to her. And we were shooting like 15 pages a day. We shot the whole movie in 12 days. 12 days of feature film, which is unbelievable because we didn't have enough, you know, we had to shoot it fast because of the budget. So it was very intense and she could not, it was very difficult for her to do that. I mean, I don't blame her. You have to have professional actors, like Tara Reid was there, like our lead Karishma. She was already ready to go. I didn't have to do much in terms of direction. I just tell her what to do. They would do it. They're completely prepared. But if someone is struggling as an actor, they're not at that level, and you expect a like professional level from them, whether you are their father or anybody, that doesn't work. So that's when we would have got a good theatrical release if we didn't have that issue in the movie. Unfortunately.
So we'll end the chat right now, but if you have any questions, feel free to...
We'll see a little few minutes of the movie, then you can see it on there.
Can you start the movie?
Sorry, I was so nervous. One is silenced with another voice. Or you never to become a lifeline of successes. Well, there is something else. I'm not following. In my office. I can't wait to read the headlines. Another miracle performed by the Almighty Jack.
Oh, yes. No, I couldn't have done it without my trusted allowance. I wanted to be the first to tell you that after 2 years of evaluation, we have decided that one of our patients qualifies for a larynx transplant. She suffered a collision about 3 years ago. Damaged her larynx and her trachea, lost all vocal ability, but she can still swallow.
Can I access her file? When's the final diagnosis?
Patient signing, we still have to find a donor first. But she's at the top of the list. And voice boxes, they're not in high demand.
You are leading on this.
Me?
No one else is qualified.
It's for real, Sonia.